Good evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Alex Kirchner, the 13 Weather Authority. Thanks for joining us here live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on our apps, as well as on our website, WREX.com. So multiple ways that you're able to stream us to get the latest news and weather information, especially when we've got things like tonight and the next couple days to track. So keep that in mind if you're on the go. You've got abilities to watch us while you're out and about. And again, we're live on our Facebook page, 13WREX. I'm keeping an eye on the questions and comments. So if you've got anything you're wondering about tonight in the next few days, let me know. I'll do my best to answer it as quickly as possible. So we still are under a 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. That would be for wind and hail. So we're not looking at any kind of tornado threat, thankfully, but a few storms may bring again some wind and hail late tonight. So far, so good, though. Really not seeing any development anytime soon. Got a very quick little burst of light rain across most of the state line right now, so nothing really threatening storm-wise. You can see some activity starting to push closer towards us from Peoria, but it's a rather quiet start to the night, so this either may be just the starts, the first little glimmers of some of this activity to bubble up, or all of the different parameters that we need to come together for severe weather just aren't lining up properly. So that's one thing we'll be watching. It does all of this little spotty activity really start to kind of develop over the next few hours. So we've got a quiet start to the evening as we just kind of wait and kind of babysit the radar a little bit to see if that's going to amount to anything. Thankfully, we are avoiding this. You may have heard all throughout the afternoon and into the evening, devastating tornadoes across Nebraska. They are now churning into Iowa, and we do have a tornado warning right outside of Des Moines currently. This was producing tornadoes in Nebraska too. So this is a long-lived line of thunderstorms producing tornadoes. And again, now we've got yet another tornado warning for a big metro area. First it was Omaha. Now we're looking at Des Moines. I don't think we'll see anything out of this, but again, if you've been kind of following along on the news or social media, you probably have heard about all of these tornadoes across Nebraska and now moving into Iowa. We'll definitely keep you informed on that. But again, we're going to avoid that threat, and hopefully we don't see something like that over the next couple days either. A little closer to home, this is what we're watching. So pretty quiet start to the evening. We get closer to 10. Maybe that rain from Peoria starts to catch up with us a little bit. And then late overnight, as you can see, still getting some spotty showers, maybe a quick storm or two. About 1:30 or so in the morning, activity is a little stronger or a little more widespread across our backyard. Possibly a strong storm south of DeKalb as we get closer to 2:30 in the morning. That's a good example of how late overnight there might be a strong storm or two, but not widespread across our backyard. And I do think the later we go into the night, the less likely we'll end up seeing severe weather. May get some small hail or some quick downpours, that kind of thing. But that's what we're watching out for, is just does 1 or 2 storms kind of get up to that severe strength. We get beyond 3 in the morning, all of this rain exits. So that's kind of what we have ahead. Be ready for storms coming in late. If your dog or your cat or whoever, they don't like thunderstorms, be ready for them to freak out just a little bit during those late overnight hours. I know my dog will not be happy about this, but she generally stays pretty quiet, just crawls under the bed and hides there. So again, be ready for a bumpy night if you have anybody that doesn't like thunderstorms. Now, for tomorrow, all hazards would be possible. 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. That is mainly late in the day. I do think a lot of Saturday is going to end up being dry. Here is future track, and we're jumping all the way ahead to 5 in the afternoon. That, as you can see, is showing a line of strong thunderstorms setting up in Wisconsin, and that's one thing we're going to watch for. Do we see storms across our backyard, or are we on the outside looking in and it's all off to our north? Now, interestingly enough, there may be more on the way heading into Saturday night. So just because we may see strong storms in the afternoon north of us doesn't mean we escape that. Good example of this heading into tomorrow night. Definitely a line of pretty strong activity sliding through our backyard, with more storms then heading into Sunday morning. Sunday morning, not likely to be severe, but as you can see, Sunday does bring a 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. We have to really see what Saturday night does. It's going to play a role into just how unstable, how strong the storms may be as we head into Sunday. So that is kind of like a set of dominoes almost. We have to watch one fall to see if it's going to hit another and set us up for storms or not as we head into Sunday. But if things line up right, we could see more severe weather on Sunday. Stormy morning with some rain showers mixed in, maybe a bit of a break in the afternoon. And if we clear out and recharge enough, may see some strong storms heading into Sunday night. So as you can see, we kind of have to wait and see what the morning does, how much energy that uses up, then into the afternoon. If we're able to recharge enough, that'll determine whether we see severe weather or not heading into late Sunday. By Monday morning, I think we're finally done with all of this rain. So even if we don't see severe weather, you saw all those thunderstorms and downpours. May end up with well over an inch for rainfall. And if we get into more of that 2+ kind of territory, there could be some low risks for some flash flooding, especially tomorrow night. That looks to be where our higher risk is setting up right now because, again, even if we don't get severe weather, we could have multiple rounds of downpours. And you know what? If we get a lot of that kind of slamming one location or another, it could result in that flash flood risk. So that is another threat we are monitoring. So with all of this, you probably heard, multiple rounds of storms we have to keep track of. You don't necessarily have to adjust your plans just yet unless you're out late Saturday and out late Sunday. Have multiple ways to get weather alerts, though. Just make sure that you've got something to get your attention in case there are watches or warnings issued throughout the course of the weekend. And then stay weather aware. Again, you saw Saturday stays mostly dry all the way up until the evening, so you've got plenty of time to go out, enjoy all of the kind of hot weather that we have coming for tomorrow, but remain weather aware. You start to see some dark sky or some big clouds billowing up. Check that 13 Weather Authority app. Check the radar, see just where storms might be firing up and be ready to take action just in case. And I would say, like, maybe you got some outdoor plans. You're going to have a barbecue in the afternoon. Have someone watching the radar, just checking every so often, and then have a backup plan. You don't have to cancel that barbecue, but again, may have that backup plan just in case, like, all right, folks, we've got some severe thunderstorms on the way, or we've got some even just regular thunderstorms. Let's get inside. Let's kind of shift to our backup plan just in case. And then review that severe weather safety plan this weekend. Maybe you don't have to use it, but just make sure everyone in your family, your friends, who you're living with, know where to go, what to do in case there is severe weather. So that's kind of the breakdown of just like little ways you can prepare. Again, this is not a cancel all plans kind of thing. It's more just be ready just in case. Especially monitor the weather the deeper we get into Saturday afternoon and evening, and be ready to take action if we do start to see some storms fire up. So Luann's wondering how far north are these storms going to be, heading to Oshkosh area in the morning. I believe you are going to be pretty well outside of all of that. Let me go back a few slides to Saturday. As you can see, okay, Oshkosh, I think roughly here, if I remember Wisconsin geography right, you're still at that 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. I think it's going to be similar timing to what we have more in the state line area where, late in the afternoon, really watch out for possible strong to severe thunderstorms. You kind of saw on Future Track, which I'll show again in a second, how there may be a little bit of a thunderstorm kind of line developing in the afternoon into Wisconsin. So I think that's why they have that included in that 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. But the update, probably coming late tonight, might end up shrinking this a little bit as it becomes a little more concentrated. Then later in the day, heading into the nighttime hours, it's probably located more across our backyard and less into Wisconsin. So I think afternoon to early evening may be your better range for that if you're up in that direction. And then it probably sinks a little closer to the south as we go into Saturday night. Corinne's wondering how are things in Iowa right now. We'll back up even further, and not great, I guess is the best way to put it. Thankfully, the tornado warnings for Des Moines have been canceled, but as you can see, southern Iowa still has those tornado warnings out until later tonight. So well, never mind. We might have just gotten a new tornado warning for the Des Moines area, maybe just southwest of the city. So there's still a lot of very dangerous storms heading into the night across southern Iowa. Rest of Iowa, very quiet, so nothing's going to bother us just yet, but not looking great for the Des Moines area going into tonight overall. Tim's wondering, will the Storm Prediction Center update the severe weather threat tomorrow? Very, very likely. So I think the update for us comes out at about 1 in the morning for tomorrow. So the next update's not until very late tonight. And if anything, they may kind of tweak where we see some of these different contours. Sometimes they, add or subtract or kind of tighten certain areas up. So I do believe there is going to be an update, and we're definitely making a plan to make sure that that information gets out to you as soon as possible in the morning. So look for at least some posts on social media and on our website updating that latest threat area if it does change. Jayla wants to know, my son wants to know all about the colors when you see the storms move along. So it is a very colorful map right now. So what we have here is the big yellow area. That's your tornado watch. So basically, conditions are right for tornadoes all across this yellow area. But you notice the warnings in red are a lot smaller. So it's kind of like we could see severe weather across this area, but the actual severe threats may be a lot smaller than that where those storms fire up. So those red boxes, that's all tornado warnings showing that we've got these dangerous storms right here capable of producing tornadoes if there's not any ongoing. Green to red on the radar itself, even some purple, basically light rain to heavy rain. The little purple areas, probably more like hail showing up on radar. I believe this little green spot, probably something like a flood advisory, so a lot of rain in that little section, and I think that kind of takes care of all that I see on here, and of course got the little lightning bolts showing just all of where the lightning is ongoing as of right now. Haley's wondering, is the tornado threat high for tomorrow and Sunday? I think it's a little higher tomorrow, where for Sunday it's probably a lot lower. The reason why, Sunday's a lot more uncertain. It's kind of like we have to wait and see just what storms do into Saturday night and Sunday morning to see if that threat goes down or not. So right now, Sunday, very conditional on just the first several rounds of storms that need to fire up first, where for Saturday, the risk is a little higher as of right now. So again, just kind of showing the remarkable amount of different tornado reports, especially in this devastating area right here, right around Omaha. It was not looking good at all. Saw footage of homes completely wiped out by those tornadoes, and now kind of scary situation going on near Des Moines. Where for us, this is Future Track for tonight. If you're just jumping on, we are live on all our streaming platforms, YouTube, Facebook, our website, and our apps. So just make sure you've got some sort of way to have us maybe on streaming tomorrow as we see additional storms fire up. For tonight, though, you can see that pretty quiet start to the night. We then get a little closer to midnight, getting a few more storms to bubble up in our backyard. May have, again, storms going until about 3 in the morning, and then we should be done with them. There is a slight risk we get a little hail or wind with those, but so far so good this evening, and that may help us out as we go late tonight. Here's tomorrow's outlook. 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Better threat area for tornadoes and all of that across Iowa into eastern Iowa, where we're a bit on the fringes right now with all of those different threat levels. However, they are a little higher than what we're seeing for tonight and what we're seeing for Sunday. And here is Future Track. You can see that as we head into Saturday evening, spotty strong storms, maybe just off to our north, and that's the first thing we're going to watch. Where does this afternoon development line up? Is it near us or is it to our north? Note, a lot more severe activity across Iowa as we look towards Saturday evening, and that may trend towards us going into Saturday night. So as you can see, the threat level kind of goes up a little bit the deeper we go into Saturday night, and then additional storms heading into Sunday morning. Not likely to be severe, but if we get a lot of storminess in the morning and don't really clear out in the afternoon, that really tanks our severe threat for Sunday. We get this out early, or this doesn't really amount to much, and we get a lot of sunshine into Sunday afternoon, be ready for another round of possible severe storms. So that's kind of how things are lining up over the next couple days. So Sunday, pretty conditional on what happens Saturday, which is why it's a 1 out of 5 threat for severe weather. And as you can see, Future Track does kind of hint we do have some clear and dry conditions at times that may allow us to charge up a little bit to fire off some strong storms going into Sunday night. And we should be done with all of this on Monday. Keep in mind, especially tomorrow night, that's where I think my concerns about any kind of flooding rainfall are higher is tomorrow night, and that we might have multiple rounds of storms, and even if they aren't severe, that multiple activity can result in a higher flood threat for us. So Sue's wondering about tonight. We will do one last little recap on that. For anybody that's just joining us, by the way, these are some things that you can do tonight through the weekend just to make sure you're ready. It's not a cancel all plans kind of thing, but it's more like, what's my backup plan? And then if I'm going to be outdoors, if I'm going to be out and about doing things, do I have a designated weather watcher? Basically, they're just kind of checking the different weather apps, every hour or so, looking for storms, especially in the late afternoon to evening. Probably won't have to do it at all in the morning or afternoon, but you get deeper in the day, have someone just checking like in your group who, maybe someone that's a weather enthusiast or something like that. Have someone just checking that radar every so often just in case. So that's where you want to stay weather aware. Have ways to get weather alerts. So if there is a warning, you've got something like a weather radio getting your attention, and review your safety plan. And hopefully we don't have to use this at all, but you're ready to go just in case. Let's see. Sherry's wondering if they have the ability to create weather, why can't they make the strong ones diminish? We really don't have a great way of creating weather, so of course we've got zero way to make the weather diminish at all and remove those severe thunderstorms and tornadoes and all that. I know, destructive weather, we don't like it. It definitely is disruptive. It can be damaging. It can be devastating and all that, but in the grand scheme of things, we kind of need them. That's why they develop. They are necessary. Again, hurricanes and tornadoes and strong to severe thunderstorms, we don't want them because they are devastating to the people who are living in that area. But it's helping release a lot of pent-up energy in the atmosphere. It's got to come out one way or the other when we do have big temperature clashes or big changes in air pressure. So that's kind of, the Earth's way of balancing out all of that energy that builds up. So yes, it can be pretty scary how powerful that all is, but we kind of need things like that. So Jennifer's wondering here, looks like a squall line. I'm kind of confused as what I see on Future Trek. So we will go through this one more time for Jennifer, just making sure that you're kind of following along here. Here is tonight. We're quiet right now, and I know Sue was asking about this too. What about tonight? Really quiet currently. Got a little activity coming up from Peoria that could brush us a little bit. Off to our west, all sorts of severe weather. You might have heard about it, wanted to just address it quick. We are not likely to get any of this activity. The deeper we go into tonight, the more likely it's going to fall apart before it gets here. And it produced a lot of severe weather today, so thankfully we avoided that kind of outbreak. But definitely keep and check in on anybody that you might know living in Nebraska and southern Iowa tonight, because it has been a pretty long day for them. Here's Future Track for tonight. Light rainfall coming in, possibly out of Peoria a little later tonight at about 10 o'clock. And then, as you can see, some spotty showers and thunderstorms coming through. And all of this is getting pushed in by a warm front. So not necessarily a squall line or anything for tonight, but this is basically just like some basic thunderstorm activity strolling in ahead of a warm front as we go through the overnight hours. And that's one thing we have to watch out for, especially early in this process. Do we get one or two strong storms to develop? That's why tonight's threat level is as low as possible. There's a possibility there, but not looking all the greatest just because things aren't lighting up the greatest as we head into the overnight hours. We're done and pretty free of any kind of rain and storms until we get possibly to late tomorrow night. Here we are for Saturday, 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, better threats over Iowa, but we still could get some strong to severe storms lining up for us. So here's Future Track for tomorrow, and Jennifer, hopefully this kind of clears up what you kind of wanted your question answered for. So what we're watching for here is in the late afternoon to evening, a lot of what's bubbling up on Future Track, at least early, is thunderstorms not necessarily attached to like a front or anything like that. They might be bubbling up in the afternoon heat, kind of getting going in that direction. Across Iowa, it's a little closer to an area of there's one area low pressure coming through tonight, second one starting to move in from the west. And between the two, that's going to allow possibly a squall line, as you can see, get going into Saturday night. So we don't have necessarily like the biggest trigger moving through our backyard to get storms going, but they could fire up in Iowa and then work their way closer towards us. So that's basically what we're seeing is here is that bit of a squall line that could come through as of tomorrow night. Not a guarantee just yet, but that's kind of what we're looking for. And then these storms following the squall line is more of a very slow-moving front that gets hung up over the region, and that will allow additional storms to kind of just keep popping up and developing across this line here. So this is where, again, Future Track probably looked a little confusing because it's just multiple rounds of storms, one after the other. And this is where, again, we've got some concerns of heavy rainfall and flash flooding late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, as you can see, because we've got these multiple rounds of storms that want to keep firing. So we've got plenty that we are going to have to track over the next 48 hours if all of this lines up just right. There have been some models that have trended this all the way up into Wisconsin, and we're not seeing much in northern Illinois. But overall, these are the kind of threats that we have to watch out for. A good example of not only potential severe weather, but then possibly some flooding rainfall following in behind all of that going into tomorrow night. So in 1 hour, we'll be live for 13 News at 10. We're going to track all of this coming through and whatever may be trying to bubble up by that point for our weather tonight. So we've got tonight's round of potential storms and then what's going to evolve for the next couple days. We usually have a new model run or two in for the next couple days by the time we get to 10 o'clock. So I'll be happy to share that latest information on the forecast with you coming up in about an hour. Thanks for joining us here, and thanks for hopping on and getting your questions answered and things like that. It was definitely a lot of fun. Join us for 10 o'clock tonight, easy for me to say, and we'll be live like this throughout the day tomorrow at times, providing updates for you. So stay tuned, stay with us as we look towards a pretty busy weekend of weather around the corner.